Hello, welcome to Law at Ease, your safe space to understand the law clearly, calmly, and confidently. I am Advocate Nandini Jaiswal. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 4, where we explore minimum standards under the TRIPS Agreement. Let's begin our journey from legalese to ease. In the previous episodes, we explored principles like national treatment and most favored nation, rules that ensure countries treat foreign players equally. But here's the real question: what if equality itself is weak? What if a country provides poor IP protection to its own citizens and extends that same weak protection to others? Would that still be acceptable under international law? This is where minimum standards come in. They answer a simple but powerful question: what is the minimum level of protection every WTO country must provide? The TRIPS agreement sets this baseline, a legal floor below which no country can fall. These standards are mainly found in Part 2, while Part 3 ensures enforcement. Together, they define what must be protected, how it must be protected, and how those rights must be enforced. Minimum standards have three key features. First, substantive rights, core rights every IP holder must have. Second, flexibility in implementation. Countries choose how to implement them. Third, no ceiling. TRIPS plus protection is allowed. So, what exactly must be protected? TRIPS requires protection of all major forms of IP: copyright, trademarks, patents, geographical indications, industrial designs, and trade secrets. No country can opt out. It also defines the nature of rights. Authors control reproduction of their work. Trademark owners prevent confusing use. Patent holders stop others from making or selling their invention. And importantly, TRIPS fixes a minimum duration. Copyright life plus 50 years. Trademarks minimum 7 years. Renewable patents 20 years. But TRIPS doesn't stop at recognition. It requires enforcement. Countries must provide civil remedies, injunctions, damages, border measures, criminal action in serious cases. So, rights are not just theoretical, they are enforceable. Now, here's where it gets interesting. TRIPS is not rigid, it builds in flexibilities, but not in one place. They are woven throughout the agreement. One key flexibility is compulsory licensing. It allows governments to use a patented invention without the owner's consent. For example, during public health crises, India used this in Bayer v Natco, making a life-saving drug far more affordable. Then we have exceptions and limitations. In copyright fair use for education, research, reporting, in patents, research use, and regulatory approvals. This includes the BOLAR exception, allowing generic drugs to be tested before patent expiry. Another important concept is exhaustion of rights. Once a product is sold legally, the IP holder's control over that product ends. This enables parallel imports, bringing genuine goods from cheaper markets. India follows international exhaustion as seen in Kapil Wadhwa v Samsung. These flexibilities were reaffirmed in the Doha Declaration on TRIPS and Public Health, which made it clear IP law must support access to medicines. Public health comes first. So, where does India stand? India complies with TRIPS, but uses its flexibility strategically. In copyright, life plus 60 years. In trademarks, 1 0 year renewable term. In patents, 20 years with safeguards like Section 3D and active use of flexibilities like compulsory licensing and parallel imports. So, what do we take away? Minimum standards are the foundation of global IP law. They ensure protection is not just equal, but meaningful. They set the floor, while allowing countries the freedom to shape their own laws. That's all for today. Thank you for listening to Law at Ease, where we take you from legalese to ease. Till next time, keep the law simple.